Aloha, everybody. Welcome back. This is Mark Jason, MJ, and I want to bring on my partner in crime, Gio. And today's topic we'll talk about your purpose or your why. Essentially, why do you want to become a barber in the first place? That's what this whole channel and project is about: is growing in the trade, or as a craftsman or a tradesman or tradeswoman in barbering from start to finish. But why do you want to start in the first place? That's something very important that you need to ask yourself and identify with the reality of, is this something you really want to truly pursue as a career, as a way of life, or is it something merely as a hobby that you think kind of cool on Instagram or on YouTube videos? So let me bring my buddy on, also my brother Gio. We'll start chatting.
Hey
What's up,
man.
brother?
Hi, how you doing, Oso? You good?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
nice, nice,
How was that
nice.
introduction? That was good for you, man. I'm trying to,
You?
as we get better at these things, I try
You're
to be
getting
like the
comfortable with
Denzel. I'm
this,
trying to be
man.
like Denzel.
Yeah, that's so funny, man.
Hey,
Yeah, I love
yeah,
that. I
brother.
love
We're
that,
talking
man.
about we're talking about purpose today, right?
Yeah,
The why. Yeah.
that's a
Uh,
good topic. I think that's a really good topic because I think the reasons why a lot of people do it. Some people do it for the wrong reasons. Some people do it for the
yeah.
right reasons, right? I
Yeah.
think, my opinion, it doesn't matter what you do, but I think it always has to be the right purpose, right?
For sure. For
and
sure.
and I think the right purpose is you don't do it for yourself, you do it for others. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't know how you see it. Um, and I think if you want to do this and you want to have a longevity kind of career, you have to do it for others, and you have to think about reasonable things like, hey, I know that I'm not gonna be rich in this profession or craft.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
want to learn from others because there's always somebody better than you,
Yeah.
but I want to be the best I can be at that moment for that person that sits in my chair. Those
Sure.
are the
Sure.
things that are, for me, the good reasons. Um,
Yeah.
what I want to say is like you have bad reasons, but those are not really bad, but those are different reasons. Look, if you want to be an
Yeah. Like let's
Instagram
talk
barber,
about some. Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about some of those, right? Because like when I started, so you've been at this a little bit longer than I have, maybe
yeah,
twice as long.
yeah,
But when I got into it, first started thinking about it, it was like 12, 13. I mean, I've had this idea of barbering since I was young, but I made the transition into it about 13 years ago, right?
yeah, yeah.
And I used to work at a bank. My background is, I have a degree in business administration, and I worked at, in insurance and mortgages and banking. And when I went into barbering, when I decided to do it, it was because I got laid off from my job
Yeah,
and my daughter was 5 years old, and I wanted to be able to find something that I could spend more time with my daughter, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
there were the other factors into it, like with the art side, the craft side, but mostly it was to find something where I could enjoy what I did and have the freedom to help raise my daughter, co-parent my daughter,
of
and
course.
be present as their dad, right? So
Yeah,
that was my core purpose. And now back then there was no Instagram or even really a heavy presence on Facebook on what barbering was, right?
no,
It was whatever you saw growing up, or whatever you were exposed to kind of growing up, or what you might have seen in some movie.
yeah,
So I've found in my experience the last 12 years or so, when people message me on Instagram or email me or Facebook saying they want to become a barber, most of them will talk about what they sometimes what they see. It looks
yeah, yeah,
this way, right? It
yeah,
appears this way. It looks so cool. It looks like you guys
yeah,
have done
yeah,
so well, or you can make a good living. But
yeah,
there's realities behind those things that people don't really see, the work that has to go into
yeah,
it, right? So,
yeah, yeah,
so yeah, that was my purpose. And then,
yeah.
some of the bad reasons maybe some people just think it's cool, right? So,
Yeah, I see that a lot. The thing is of course, back in my day as well, I started like back in the 90s. And back then you didn't had like you had like gentlemen hair cutters, right? Just
Yeah.
specifically just for gentlemen. And but like real barbers, there were just a couple of left, I think, here in Holland. I
Mm,
think there's
mm,
a couple of guys that already did it a long time, but that was
yeah.
before everything blew up, right?
Yeah.
um I think for me, my reason where I started, it saved my life. You know, this whole barbering thing. I knew I wasn't a guy that wanted to do bank stuff or something like that because I
Yeah.
knew
Yeah. Yeah.
my brain
Yeah.
wasn't good enough, man.
Hey, mine wasn't either. I don't know how I ended up with that job either. I'm sure the
No,
bank
but
lost a lot of money when I was there, man.
yeah, exactly, you know. But I always knew that I had some creativity in myself, and I knew that I liked being creative. Back in the day, I drawed, I did graffiti and stuff. I did a lot of payments for graffiti where I shouldn't do that. But I thought, I thought like, hey man. So for
Yeah,
me,
yeah,
it was kind of like my mom introduced me to that because she was kind of like fed up with paying all my my coloring, and, and yeah, you know. So I had to start somewhere, but as soon as I had that, I had to wash ladies. So I was kind of like the Zohan, you know, like, hey man, old ladies
yeah,
washing
yeah,
everybody.
yeah,
This, that.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the funny thing was, that woman, that elderly woman, gave me a tip from 5 guilders. Back in the day, there was no euros, there were guilders in Holland.
Mm,
And for me, that was kind of like, whoa, man, I earned my
yeah,
first money. And I was like,
yeah,
where should I put it? I said to my boss, Vim, like, hey, no, man, you can keep it. That's for you. She gave it
yeah,
to you. That's your earnings. And I'm like, whoa,
yeah,
man, this is kind of cool.
yeah.
And she loved my massaging.
Well,
Maybe
you're
she
real
wasn't
low,
loving me. I don't
huh?
know.
You ain't lying.
No, but that was the start of my career, and I
Yeah,
thought like, hey man,
yeah,
this
man.
is something. Hey, somebody appreciates what I do for her, and we got physical contact, but also a kind of relaxing thing, relaxing vibe. And I thought like, hey, this is something good. You can do a lot of things for other people. And as soon as I had that, I kind of fell in love with it. And like you said, before Instagram and all that kind of stuff, we had to ask everything uh, among our own people, right? So that's your colleagues, but also if I want to do like ethnic hair, I have to go to the other barbershops, you know, the black
Right.
barbers, you know, that do all the ethnic hair and all that kind of things. If I wanted to
Yeah,
do like Asian hair, I had to go to the Asian
yeah.
barbers or hairdressers or whatever. We had to communicate with each other because otherwise you didn't learn things, right?
Well, that's an
And
interesting point, thing that you bring that up, if I may, because not having a point of reference like Instagram or YouTube,
yeah, yeah,
or probably even textbooks, really, because
yeah,
before this resurgence, I mean, I don't know where you would go find a resource to
yeah,
learn. So, for you as a barber, or as you started getting into this industry, and without having a reference of like people are making really good money, you just kind of see what owners and barbers and
yeah,
hairdressers in your area were like. They seem to be providing for themselves. They seem to be
yeah,
doing okay for
yeah,
themselves, and it was something that drew you because you had some artistic and creative tendencies and background.
yeah, man. Um,
Yeah,
I think like for that part, I really was interested also in why are people getting so much customers, right?
mm,
Why do they have like, hey man, that guy is so busy, but the other one is not? Where is that all
yeah,
about? Is it because he's better,
yeah,
or
mm,
does he talk better, or whatever? So I picked out my colleagues first, right? You know, hey, what kind of? I always see it like Marvel. You know, everybody got a
yeah,
special
yeah, yeah,
ability,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? You
Everybody got
know,
a talent. Yeah, yeah,
so everybody got their own talent.
yeah,
It's not about being the best haircutter or being the best communicator. It's the whole total package what you can bring to somebody that's to one individual that sits in your chair. And for me, that was like I want to preserve as much as possible information from everybody. so I can put it in my special ability to grow as an all-rounder. You got the talented
Yeah.
people and you got the hard workers. People that have talent, things go like, but then they get into the comfortable seat, and if that doesn't work,
Yeah.
hey, then things are tumbling down, right? And I think
Yeah.
like, yo, it's if you have talent, I always say like, if you got more talent than that you work, you have to work harder, even harder. Why? Because if the
Yeah.
talent doesn't work, you always can fall down on your basic stuff.
Yeah.
So the job keeps on rolling and keeps on going, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't do that. They just only fixate on their talent. And with talent, you don't come far, man. It's hard work that brings you
No.
that
Oh,
far.
yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
And and
Yeah.
and, and
Yeah. Sometimes when you rely too much on talent, then you start feeding into your own ego, and you
yep,
start believing and
yep.
that's a recipe always for disaster. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it
you're gonna
is.
come into this. If you're trying to find your purpose, like we always say, humility, work
Yeah,
ethic,
man.
um,
Yeah, man.
and be willing to, man, yeah,
My
be willing
core
to put in
what
some harder work than you probably did at your office job. You're gonna have
yeah,
to,
man.
and all of it is accountability. You have to hold yourself accountable to standards uh, that you may not be used to before if you want to look at succeeding. You have
Yeah.
to be, because this is a lot of self-driven work, man. This is a lot of
It
accountability to
is.
show up on time,
It
to
is.
look professional, to be
It
clean.
is. It is. Man,
Yeah,
in the beginning, I wasn't passionate at all, man. This was just going to work and just paying my
yeah,
dues, man. You know.
yeah,
But as soon as I evolved as a person and you come to that evolution, right? To get
yeah.
better, to see more,
Maturity. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, to get
mm,
ready to learn more. Then I start like, yo, man, I'm getting good at this, man. But there's
yeah,
always this kind of doubt thing, like, hey, man, but hmm, I see that guy does it better or that woman does it better. Why does she blow dry better than me? How is that, man?
Hey, I still like that. I still like that
I'm
after 12
still
years.
like that. Yeah,
If I work in my shop and I look at my other barbers, like, damn it, how come my fade doesn't look like
man.
that?
That's the same thing with me,
I
man.
tell my client, don't look over there. Don't look at those barbers.
No,
Don't look at them.
man. But that's the thing, right? You know,
Yeah,
the passion comes later on when you already know, like,
yeah,
hey, man,
yeah,
this is what I do. This is who I am, and
yeah.
it's not about all my tattoos and all my
Oh, yeah,
things that I
yeah,
wear. No, it's a
yeah.
whole lifestyle. This whole barbering thing, what comes up right now, everything is like, uh, how do you say that? Self righteousness. You know, you know.
Mm, mm,
And it's not a negative thing. I don't want to adjust to that, but the
yeah,
thing is, it's just like, if you look, if somebody treats me how they wanted to be treated, I'm the same way to them,
yeah,
right? And
mm,
this is how I treat this craft as well. You know, I
yeah,
wanted to be there and provide for everybody the same amount of energy and feeling for that client and for the person. And I think if you have that, you will always go for the long run, you know, because
yeah.
money,
If you got that at the core of what you want to do,
yeah,
if that's like, if you enjoy people, if you enjoy fellowship, if you enjoy community, being a part
yeah,
of something,
yeah,
if you love seeing people smile and making people feel happy,
exactly.
the biggest statistic I got when I was going through the school system, and I've said this many times in the past, is that the instructor said, your success in this industry is about 70 to 75% of your personality, on who you are as a person,
Yeah,
on
yeah,
how
yeah,
you
man.
attract the law of attraction to
Yeah,
other
man.
people. The rest is made up by your technical skill and all the other stuff. But,
Exactly.
as soon as I heard that, I was like, oh, I got personality for days. I got this. I can do this, man.
I can do
You
this,
know,
man.
I just that.
Yeah, exactly. You know,
Here you go, sir.
I can do that, man. You
Uh,
know.
yeah,
Yeah.
man, shoot. And I've learned that. And that's what's driven my growth, and because that's always been the core of why I wanted to. And one of the big cores, yeah, originally it was for my daughter, and it's allowed us to grow together as a dad and a daughter over the years. So it definitely gave me the what I was looking for in that aspect. the sense of community and belonging to something, and a family of customers and people that just love to be in one room at one time together. Uh, that's where the growth comes in. I think everybody coming into the trade has to have some of that, or if not a lot of that.
Oh man, back in the day, man, I was a lazy fuck, man. you know, no, serious, man. I had a lot of stuff on my mind, and I wasn't at the right place at sometimes. But I always knew I want to learn this, I want to learn this because this is my last chance for doing something right. My school sucked, man. I didn't have no good education. I was smoking weed all the time, man. I'd rather be stoned than like learning in my books, man. If
Yeah.
I'm 38 right now, I'm going to 40. If I knew the stuff that I know right now, and the same example what
Oh,
you
same
had,
here. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
70% is personality and the rest is just skill
Yeah.
and the rest of all the
Yeah.
crap, I would have signed for that, man.
Oh, yeah,
But
man.
for
Yeah.
me, it was such a long journey, to come where I come because there was like a lot of highs and a lot of lows, but
Oh,
during the lows through my life, I exactly knew like, hey man, this is reflecting on my job as well, man. And when I came through the lows, I saw that my job was very important for me because I could provide myself still. And I saw through that chance that, yo, man, almost 25 years in the business right now, and I still see it as like, yo, man, this saved my life, you know? Because if I had to do something else, I practically don't know what to do, man. Because I wasn't capable of learning a lot and remember things, what I had in school. I learned everything what I learned right now. I learned from my customers and from the people around me and as a business owner, you always get infected with the people that you surround yourself with, right? And I
yeah.
always wanted to be better than somebody else so I can be better. But not to prove that my ego is better, no, because I want
Right.
to learn
Yeah.
from the people
Push yourself.
that are
Right.
better
Right.
so
Right.
I can push myself. And now I have the feeling like, yo, now it's time for me to push other people to get to the
Yeah.
same level. And I think this is also why we came together like, hey man, we got to
Yeah.
do something for the right things, the right reasons why we
Yeah.
do this. It's
Yeah.
not
Hundred
because we
percent.
want to have more followers on Instagram or on YouTube or anything. No, we want to be there for the people that struggle right now or want to be busy with this craft or learn the craft,
Yeah.
right? And I think,
I've told my barbers. I've told them when they came on board. Some of them came on board as apprentices.
mm-hmm,
Some of them came on hired straight on as barbers. But each one of them, I've told them that my job or my role as the owner of the shop is to mentor you, to prepare you to be where I am today in a shorter amount of time that it took me to get to this point, right? Um, so that you don't have to make the same mistakes or waste the same amount of years trying to figure out and reinvent the wheel, right? Like
exactly, yeah,
this is the map, the roadmap, and the blueprint that got me
yeah,
from I want to become a barber to now I'm a shop owner, right?
yeah,
And if
yeah,
I can condense that for them, I mean, they
yeah.
can do with it. I could write it down, and some people still may not figure it out, right?
No,
That's because they
exactly,
just
yeah,
don't
man.
have the desire to do it. But the smart ones and the wise ones and those that really want to grow, they'll take that and run with it and make it bigger and better than what I was able to do. That's what we're trying to do here with our
Exactly.
project and our channel.